Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
From the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Okay, chat, we're going to try this out, even though, wow. Good night. Well, hello, everybody, first of all. Second of all, I apologize for the background noise. I'm hoping it'll quiet down. It's super damn loud. Welcome to the night stream. We're going to try, yeah, I can't stop it. It's been going, it goes on for hours, too. We're going to try to do some science tonight. I have been promising science for a while, and we haven't done any. We've been doing spaces, podcasts. I've been getting so many podcast requests and stuff. Like, I've been doing a lot. I think another one's dropping tomorrow as well. So that's been awesome. It's also Martini night. No work tomorrow for me. I'm on that federal holiday schedule, y'all. Woo woo. I'm going to Serpent Mound for the eclipse. If anyone wants to come, when's the eclipse? Is that the one that Chris Leto is making happen, or is it a different one? I guess the eclipses should be known, right? Shouldn't they be known ahead of time? I probably shouldn't make Chris Leto jokes, honestly. Let's see, guys. So what do we got going on? Sorry, I'm stuffing some olives here. I was just arguing with, arguing, I don't know if that's the right word, but maybe debating is the right word. Some debunkers. I don't know why they're so obsessed with trying to convince everybody that they're right. Like, you'd think they would be happy, right? Like, I've already announced my retirement, my future retirement from the case. Oh, there it goes. It stopped. Hopefully it doesn't go up again. You'd think that they would just be happy, right? But somehow they're not. Like, somehow they've, like, got to convince everybody else that they're right. It's just so wild. Like, what do they, you know, just, like, honestly, at this point, they're just doing more damage to their own side, right? Like, if you think the videos are debunked, like, you should have gave up and moved on, like, a long time ago. The fact that you got these people out here still desperately trying to convince people that the videos are fake, like, honestly, at this point, just adds more legitimacy to them. I'm starting to think that it's honestly, I might even add it to the evidence list at this point. Like, that's how crazy it is. Like, even I'm starting to go, okay, man, this is getting weird how these people are so obsessed. Like, they should have no skin in the game, right? And yet they do somehow. Oh, William, it's March 19th? That's interesting. Good to know, man. Yeah, sorry, I only stuffed a couple olives beforehand. I'll stop here in a minute so we can focus on the task at hand tonight. So I do want to point out, though, that I never looked at this satellite video side by side compared to the original, and someone posted it today. And you can tell the fake one, like, right away, like, within seconds. Now, maybe it's because I've looked at the real video so many times. But that just goes to show how the difference between the fake one and the real one is that the real one is accurate to engineering and electrical engineering and physics. The fake one isn't accurate to any of those things, right? And that's how, like, it's one of those things where it's like the eye test, right? Like where you can tell something's real or tell something's fake. It's pretty wild. So let's get into it. First of all, Matt Kim. I don't have I thanked Matt Kim yet? Matt Kim got an interview with Andrew Tate. Whether or not you loved Andrew Tate or hate Andrew Tate, he's considered one of the biggest influencers in the world. So for Matt Kim to get an interview with him is pretty damn huge. So congratulations to Matt. I'm a big fan of Matt in general. He was like one of the nicest people ever to us. And the truth is, when I started the investigation, I thought that the people on the, like, let's say the right-wing side of the political spectrum, I thought they were going to be like super hostile towards this information. That's the weird part. That just goes to show my own biases, right? And it turns out it was the exact opposite of what I thought. It was all the left-wing people that can't think this stuff is real. Not all of them. Some of you guys are, you know, Democrats and left-wing as well. And I consider myself liberal, but the party has kind of gone past me in recent years. But for some reason, it's the exact opposite of what I thought. You know, like Matt Kim was super nice. Matt Kim didn't try to debunk us or anything, right? Just like gave us a platform, was like, this thing's crazy, started talking to some of his other influencer buddies. Like, that was wild, man. In addition, people like Brian Lupo and Alpha Warrior and Zach Payne were all super cool as well. Yeah, it was just wild, man. He's just a super nice guy, man. So congratulations to him. Also, apparently his Discord is like, they love me. It's weird because I think most places where I go in terms of the UFO community, their Discords and communities just hate me. Like on both sides. Like, doesn't even matter. But with Matt Kim's Discord, he's like, no, my Discord loves you, dude. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, really? Like, that's awesome. And when I watched the Tucker Carlson interview with them, I went in their Discord and watched the interview with them. And everybody was like super cool, asking me questions. It was awesome. So, yeah, it was fun. So enough gushing over Matt Kim. Yeah, he does have all the cheat codes. Oh, here we go. The video could have been made years before the plane vanished, guys. This is your debunkers, guys. The debunkers are actually now arguing that the video was even made years before the plane vanished, guys. Even though it's the literal location where the plane disappeared, where the plane supposedly turns into the South Indian Ocean. What, did they just randomly guess that years later that the plane was going to be in that exact location? This is how you can't take these guys seriously, man. When someone says something like this that is this dumb, that just discredits them completely, then nothing else they say can be taken with any grain of salt, with any level of truth, right? Like, if you're making something this absurd, this illogical, right? This is like me coming out and saying, like, you know, okay, this is going to be a little mean. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I was going to say this is like me, like, leaning on, like, remote viewing as my evidence, or like psychic powers as my evidence, right? And being like, sorry, the psychic powers said that this happened to the plane, therefore that's proof, right? Like, this is like the equivalent, the debunker equivalent of that, right? Like, there's no logic or reason here. The videos could have been made years before the plane vanished. Direct quote. Honestly, I might need to save this just in case he deletes it. I think we got to save this just in case he deletes it, chat. Unbelievable, dude. That's just wild. I'm gonna put that in my. I've got a little like evidence folder for debunker stuff. We might have to break this out later. Whenever this guy says anything, we're just gonna pull up his claim that the videos could have been maybe made years in advance. Wild, dude. Wow, that's mad copium right there. Yikes. Yeah, but this is the guy you're supposed to believe that's telling other people they don't know how VFX works. This guy right here. Uh-huh. Gotcha, bro. Gotcha. And so here's the best part. You look at the video, and you can tell right away, this one right here is clearly the fake one. You can tell right away the plane is like, what is this? It's like Stickman version of the plane, right? And you can tell as well when the orb comes in, where, first of all, the orb doesn't even come in this video. The orb actually doesn't even come in this video. I'm so confused. Like, where's the orb? And what's this thing floating down here in the fake video? You see this thing coming over here in the like, what is that right there? What is that? And then the orb just doesn't even show up where it's supposed to show up, and where it shows up in the real video. It doesn't even show up here. Probably because he couldn't get it to work. Like, he couldn't get the math to work out, right? Because we're seeing it move at consistent speed. The other part, too, is the turn is fake here as well. And this is the difference when you just take a model and you try to rotate it versus like an actual accurate turn based on a real camera that is actually looking down at it, right? Very, very difficult to get this correct. And you can tell the angle isn't quite right on the fake one, right? You can tell the orbs spinning, and the size of the orbs is also very fake as well. There's just a certain aura of the real orbs where it's almost a little bit fuzzy on the edges compared to the fake orbs where it's like it's clearly just like a circle, right? And the pattern is completely different as well. He doesn't even actually get the pattern correct. Like, his pattern is just like a random spin around the plane versus one that has clear purpose, right? And then he also has his become vertical too soon. Like, there's just a lot of parts of it that are very, very obvious right away. And the sad part is, like, those are the only original aspects of the videos. Someone was also saying that the zap. The zap also doesn't accurately illuminate the clouds either. You can especially tell on the left, where you see this glow around the left clouds here. It doesn't even exist on the fake one. So, you know, he copied as much stuff as he could and failed on everything else. So this is, I think that's I know for sure, that's Tony Adams' recreation. I don't like to put people down, but when you got people putting your stuff up as like this being proof of the videos being fake, then sadly, I'm going to rip it down, because that's how easy it was for me to prove that it's not real, his fake video. Honestly, if anything, this goes to even add more credit to the fact that the videos are real. And it doesn't help at all when you have people saying, well, yeah, it took me like 5 days to make it, but I could do it in like an hour now. Like, when you start to lie like that, it just destroys your credibility, right? If the debunkers at least came out and were like, okay, yeah, it took me like 5 days to make it. It was pretty tough, but, you know, you have 72 days, like, blah, blah, blah. They would have more credibility. But when they come out and they lie and they make stuff up about how they could do it in an hour or whatever, 5 minutes, some of these guys in their insane, totally like nutto, fake, explanations for how quickly they could do it, it destroys their credibility, right? The same way why when I was in the space earlier today, I'm talking about, like, I don't trust anyone who says they know all the answers, right? It's the same kind of thing. If you aren't opening yourself up to being wrong, and at least not able to admit when you're wrong, like, then you lose all credibility, right? We can tell that you're just trying to convince yourself that it's real, no matter how. Like, that, it just, you exude that when you do stuff like that, right? Versus me, who I'm like, okay, I'll look at it, I'll address it, like I just did with this one. I've addressed every debunk to date. Nobody's addressed any of my evidence ever. Even the people who argue into Edward C. Lin stuff, they just cherry pick some source and ignore all the other sources. It's like, okay. And their sources don't even have quotes in them. Mine do. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Yeah, this is fun. Okay, guys. So enough of that. I gave that person enough attention. The Area 503, I don't know who that person is, but I gave them enough attention. And then when people start to do the quote retweet stuff, that's when I don't reply anymore, because these people are just like, it's clear that he's trying to convince people, right? He's trying to use my followers and try to convince my followers and stuff like that. And again, that's really scummy, and it goes to show the dishonest intent, right? As opposed to, you know, arguing like you want to have an actual debate or argument, which is not what they want. They're people like Area 503. He's a propagandist. He's not a logical or rational person. He's just a propagandist, and he's pushing propaganda, right? And that's what most debunkers do, right? Whether or not they realize they're doing it or not, I'm not sure. But from the outside perspective, that's what it comes across as. And that's why, like, especially when a lot of these people come on Twitter, they get so surprised that real people don't fall for the bullshit, right? The stuff flies on Reddit where people are idiots and brainwashed and whatever, and everybody has the same exact opinions. and everybody doesn't care about what's true or not. They just care about how people make them feel. But when you come to a place like Twitter where you have real people, this stuff doesn't really fly anymore. And people see right through it. So, okay. We got that dealt with. We're going to need Grok here as well. Oh, that hard truth isn't new. So, okay, I want to address as well. I re-uploaded so a lot of the podcasts I did them live. But especially like the one with like Dave, there was like a big area where I didn't have the share screen wasn't working. And there's a couple other things I edited out about. I also edited out the part about where we talk about we wouldn't kill ourselves. It just felt a little bit, didn't feel right when I was listening to it. So I'm actually doing that with the other ones as well. Because also, unless you have your stuff as a video, if it's just a live stream, it's harder to find it. And you can't do a podcast on YouTube with it. And also, I'm uploading all of these onto Spreaker as well, which is some kind of audio place where you can do audio stuff. So that's what I'm going to be doing like all day tomorrow with my day off, is the last of them as well. The rest of them shouldn't be as hard to edit. The Dave Rossi one was because there was a bunch of issues with it. I will also be premiering probably on Tuesday. Hard Truths number... Is it number 7? Let me double check. It's either number 7 or number 8. I forget where we're at, guys. Guys, do you remember which Hard Truths we're at right now? Oh, it's number 8. We're going to be premiering Hard Truths number 8 with Mark Sokol, who's the founder of APEC, the Alt Propulsion Conference, as well as Falcon Space Laboratory as well. So, should be sweet. Oh, new RFK documentary tomorrow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Also, I guess real quick, I'll address the Kreishley thing. So Kreishley did a live stream yesterday. I had only one stipulation, which was that she tried to recreate the Pyromania, or try to recreate the actual Zap using the Pyromania VFX without looking at the Zap. And she didn't do the one thing that I asked her to do. And then she got upset that I wasn't watching in real time, even though I literally had a space with Skyfire News that I had to be in. And there's no reason why I had to be there in real time for that. I had other people in there watching. And then she came in and made a big stink about how I wasn't there in my live stream. And then made a statement about how I must have a sad life or something like that. So she got banned. She won't be back in the stream ever again. And for the Redditors who are watching, that's what happens when you act like a dickhead. Sorry. So that's just what it is. Yeah, nobody harass her. I don't want anyone to harass her. At least she did. She tried, right, at least. But the problem with the debunkers is they don't ever listen to the things that I actually say. And they just argue against what they want to be in their heads to be true. And, I mean, that's just, I don't know. At this point, chat, a lot of people have asked me, am I upset about Joe Rogan? The truth is no, I'm not. I'm not upset at all about it, honestly. Because what I've realized is that the NPC meme is real. The NPC meme is real. I actually am really wondering whether or not a lot of people are even conscious. It does make me wonder about the nature of our reality to a degree that's kind of esoteric. Because there's a significant percentage of people that get viscerally angry and like don't even begin to see reality the right way or from an objective perspective regarding these videos and the science that's potentially real about the videos. And that scares me about the idea of if I went on Joe Rogan, people like might literally come after me. I mean, I've got people now claiming they're going to come after my job. I get worried. Like, I'm not worried about the government coming after me and silencing me. I'm actually worried about psychopaths who get their minds broken and convince themselves that I'm some evil person and them coming after me personally. That scares me more than anything else. And there's nothing to be upset about because, you know, if the videos are real, I've set myself up in a position where when this science gets proven, which I'm 100% confident it will be, that everybody's going to theoretically want to talk to me because I'm going to look like I'm a psychic, right? I'm gonna, like, you know, I mean, I'm sure they'll come up with the debunkers will come up with some excuse when it turns out that room temperature superconductivity is real. They'll be like, oh, Ashton just guessed at that. And then when the next thing comes out that over unity is real, they'll just say, make up something else. Okay, even if that's real, doesn't mean the MH370 video is real. You guys can mark this because you know that's going to come someday in the future, right? But when the collective conscious reaches a point where people can accept that macroscopic phase conjugation is a real thing that can happen, then the videos will be proven to be real, right? Because then people will just not have this mental block like they do right now. Because people's mental block right now isn't even about the evidence. It's just about when they look at that, they go, that can't be real. In their minds, what happens is they go, they can't be real, and then cognitive dissonance takes over. And cognitive dissonance is when your mind has already decided something, and that you are just trying to rationalize it however it's required, right? And for some people, that means I'm an evil person and I'm a liar. For other people, that means they literally will see, and even they'll look at a VFX that doesn't match, and they'll just tell themselves that it matches, right? And in their mind, it does match. Like, that's the crazy thing, is that's how powerful brainwashing is in general. And it's wild, because even that person I was showing before, they're arguing both ways. They're arguing it's an exact match, and then they argue, well, of course it's not an exact match. Like, do you not realize your own logical contradiction in your own words that you state? And some of them will even go, nobody's saying it's an exact match. And, like, literally there are people on their side saying it's an exact match. And some of them say both things at the same time, including Nico of the Corridor crew. Like, and that just goes to show that we're not ready, right? We're just not ready. Now, you guys who are ready, great. Great, right? Like, we don't need to convince other people. It doesn't matter to us that we know the science is real. We're just going to understand it. We're going to try to understand it. We're going to try to learn it. We're going to try to dig into it, right? One sec. My favorite, though, is the debunkers that are like, Ashton's trying to learn electrical engineering. What an idiot. Like, imagine how dumb you have to be for your opinion to be like, oh, he's trying to learn the science. What a moron. It's like, this is like the people that are like, don't do your own research. It's like, you mean read? You don't want me to read? Like, it's ridiculous, man. The logical argument should be, if you think something is real or fake, you should try to understand the science. Because that's the only way that you can prove or disprove something. Claiming conjectures doesn't get you there, right? The last thing is, I don't even think the debunkers even know what science even stands for. I mean, I'm older, so I think that in my day and age, we actually still learned what science meant. But I actually think that the first question anyone should ask a debunker, anyone who references science, is you should ask them, what do you think science means, right? Because today, Shepherd of Truth was like, people forget that science is like actually observing what really occurs and then trying to explain it, right? Not like trying to rationalize it from the reverse perspective, right? And science really stands for the scientific method, you know? And I don't think people that claim to know what science is or support science even know that. It's wild. Oh, yeah. I keep saying the last thing, but there is one more thing. The other thing we realize is that the debunkers or the Redditors are starting to reveal themselves on other platforms, right? Like Local 556 is a Redditor. This Area 503 guys are Redditor. We can tell now, right? They are literally pulling stuff up from Reddit. They're getting it from Reddit because they're on Reddit. There's not that many people active on those forums anymore, so you can now start to tell some of those guys are some of the real nutjob Redditors who've been constantly trying to, like, all day long posting on Reddit, right? Some of those guys are them. We don't know which ones are which, but you can tell now, especially now that Reddit started to die, they've started to migrate over to Twitter because they're pushing their propaganda on Twitter now because there's no propaganda to push there anymore, which is funny because I always wanted that subreddit to die. Like, I never wanted that Reddit to be around. That Reddit has only done damage to the case and only falsely convinced people that things are debunked when they're not. So the sooner that subreddit dies and is deleted, the better for the case in general. Yeah. Yeah, Kreishley probably picked off a little bit more than she could chew, to be honest. Okay. Jason Tatum means Larry Bird. Okay. Where are we going to start here? I don't know if we're going to... Man, Bob Greenier's streams have a lot of stuff in them, but I can't do 2 hours and 45 minutes, right? Like, I need, like, shorts, you know? I need people to edit certain parts of it down for us. Let me pull up my science list, and we'll start with that. Okay, let's see what we got. Where's my science list? So Maxwell, heavy side. First thing I want to understand is the square root of the electric permittivity of the vacuum. Is that, am I saying it right, chat? Permittivity? Permittivity. Ugh. I don't know. God, I wish that thing would stop. There probably are more spaces, chat. Let me just look and see if there are any. I don't think I want to do another space tonight. I'm kind of burnt out from spaces. People ask me why I don't do more, and I'm like, I'm already doing so many. Keemstar says Halo on Paramount Plus is 10 out of 10. I don't know about all that. I don't know about that take, Keemstar. Where are the spaces? Trading. I'm just looking through. I'm not seeing anything that are relevant. No. Okay, let's ask what the square root of the electric permittivity of space-time is to Grok. I want to understand that. Permittivity. Wait. Permittivity. I don't. Am I spelling it wrong? Oh, one more T. Is that right? Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Here we go, chat. We're learning. Time for some science. I wonder if I can turn this thing off. Okay, so it's also known the square root of the electric permittivity of space, also denoted as epsilon naught, or vacuum permittivity, is a fundamental physical constant that arises in the context of electromagnetism. It is related to the speed of light in a vacuum and the magnetic permeability of the vacuum, which is mu naught. Oh, guys, I'm learning things. That's mu, right? I think. And that one's epsilon. The value of epsilon naught is approximately 8.85 times 10 to the minus 12 farads per meter. It represents the ability of the vacuum to permit electric fields to pass through it. In other words, it quantifies the amount of electric flux that is generated per unit of electric field in a vacuum. The significance of the square root of epsilon naught lies in its role in the relationship between the electric and magnetic fields in the vacuum. It appears in the expression for speed of electromagnetic waves, including light in a vacuum. 1 equals 1 over the square root of epsilon naught mu naught, where c is the speed of light. The expression shows that the speed of light is determined by the fundamental constants of epsilon naught and mu naught. Huh. The square root of epsilon naught is involved in the expression for the impedance of free space. So this is like how slow something's going to flow, right? Am I understanding it correctly? We got any smarts in the chat tonight? Where's Hermes? Why is Hermes not here? I need my smarts. The square root of epsilon naught is also involved in the expression for the impedance of free space. Z to the naught equals square root of mu naught divided by epsilon naught. Okay, I'm going to lose my mind. Turn it off. Okay, that's turned off. I did emergency override. I was going to lose my mind, man. I'm sure 2 hours of that going is plenty to clean the dishes. Okay, so that is the measure of the opposition to the flow of electromagnetic energy in a vacuum. That's the opposition. Okay. In summary, the square root of the electric permittivity of spacetime, epsilon naught, is the fundamental constant that plays a crucial role in the understanding of the electromagnetic phenomenon and the propagation of light in the vacuum. So when I look at these numbers, right, the square root, 1 divided by the square root, this seems like an interesting equation. So if you can get this down to 1, then the speed of light is just 1, right? If this becomes higher than 1, then the speed of light is going to slow down. If this can get lower than 1, then the speed of light would start to increase. I don't know what giant web form means. Yeah, this seems like, so this is the idea that, like, I think what this means, the speed of light is not constant, right? The speed of light can be slowed down. The speed of light as we know it is based on the standard permittivity of space-time itself, right? And so what that means is that space-time itself is a medium, and we only perceive light as going at this particular speed because that's what we see all around us. The same way where we all experience time in the same flow because we're all on the planet Earth. But if you were to change the permittivity of space-time, now light is going to flow at a different speed. That's pretty interesting. I want to know what the implications are. Let's ask. What are the implications of faster than light travel related to the permittivity of space? Let's see what Grok says. Ooh, okay. This is gonna be good, chat. Let's let Grok cook here. I think we also need to Google this, see if we can find any YouTube videos. Vacuum permittivity is what's also known as. Damn, Grok is cooking, chat. Grok's not done yet. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is our man, dude. This is our man right here. Yeah, he explained this to us guys back a while ago. We need like PBS space-time though. We need we need someone to tell us something a little bit simpler than this though. Yo, Grok went hard. Okay, here we go. Okay. The implications of faster than light travel related to the electric permittivity of space are far-reaching and have the potential to revolutionize our understanding of the universe and the way we interact with it. First, let's consider the speed of light, which is approximately 299,792,458 meters per second. According to Einstein's theory of special relativity, the speed of light is the maximum speed which information can travel. If it were possible to travel faster than the speed of light, it would mean that we could potentially send information back in time, leading to a host of paradoxes and challenges to our current understanding of causality. The electric permittivity of space, also known as the vacuum permittivity, is a measure of how easy electric fields can propagate through an empty space. It is a fundamental constant of the universe and is closely related to the speed of light. If the speed of light were to change due to faster than light travel, it could have significant implications for the electric permittivity of space and consequently the behavior of electromagnetic fields. And now if you flip that around, it's not that the speed of light were to change, it's that the electric permittivity were to change, then the speed of light is going to change. One possible implication of faster light travel is that it could lead to the development of new technologies. This is just kind of machine learning bullshit. This doesn't help us. Oh, hold on. Is this... Trying to figure out any good videos here. I think this is what we want to watch. Let's watch this.
This video is sponsored by Wondering. Stay tuned to the end to find out more. Imagine, if you will, that you have a very powerful laser pointer on a clear night and you point it to the moon. In a little over a second, you'll see the dot made by your laser on the surface of the moon, presuming the light is powerful enough and tight enough to make a dot. Let's then say that you attach your laser to a spinning device that can spin the laser at about 100 revolutions per second. This is about the same number of revolutions that your car engine spins when you're accelerating. So it's not all that fast. What you would find is that your laser dot is moving around the circumference of the moon at about 3 times faster than the speed of light. How is this possible?
Wild.
We've always been taught that nothing can move faster than the speed of light. So what's going on? Well, if we look closely at what's happening, we'll find that no photon is really moving faster than the speed of light. The dot is propagating faster than light, but it's a different set of photons that are raining down as the dot moves. The photons are coming from your laser pointer on Earth to the moon at the speed of light. But this is perpendicular to the direction of movement of the dot. The dot...
It's funny, I always wondered about this in terms of what he's showing right now, right? Even back when I was in high school physics, I thought, well, if you have a laser pointer and it's moving, it looks like it's moving faster the further away it is, right? Oh, is it too loud?
Can move at any speed.
That should be better.
There's no object that's actually moving with the dot. And the important feature of this faster than light laser dot is that astronauts on the moon would not be able to alter it in any way. There's no way that they would be able to use it to communicate with each other faster than light, because in order to do so, they would have to send a message to you on Earth, and then you would have to alter the laser. This process would take place at the speed of light.
Just already now, from looking at this, I'm already decided that there's got to be a faster than light communication possible, right? It just seems like the person who's talking right now is just, and I know this isn't their, just only their understanding, but the general understanding is it seems like it's too simplistic, right? We got to be more ingenuitous than that and think about it in terms of what can we figure out. There's got to be a way. I'm sure of it.
So the lesson from this thought experiment is that the maximum speed limit is really not a limit with which things can move, because the dot is arguably a thing that can move faster than light. But the speed limit is a limit on the speed of communication. It is a limit on causality. A cause cannot have an effect anywhere in the universe.
Now, this I agree with, guys. So I don't think you can break causality, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't communicate faster than the speed of light. That's the weird thing. That's what I've been trying to reconcile is how can we have faster than light communication but not break causality, right? And the answer there, I think, is time dilation, right? When you start to realize that time doesn't flow the same everywhere, this is where now there's no way to change things in the past, even if we have faster than light communication. I'd love to think of an experiment where we can somehow, a thought experiment or an analogy where we can prove that. I was trying to think of one and I can't figure out a way where you can break it. Like, let's say we have faster than light communication with Alpha Centauri, right? Alpha Centauri is 4 light years away, okay? So we send a communication to them. The problem is, when is that communication getting there for their local time? For their local time, it's 4 years later, right, than it is here. But we are communicating instantly, right? And there the problem is now we're communicating with them 4 years in the future, but they can't send a message back in time because they're in a different frame of reference than we are, right? Their frame of reference is different than our frame of reference. If we were to actually go to Alpha Centauri, we would never show up earlier than 4 years in the future, even if we moved at the speed of light. From our perspective, time would go instantly. But when we get there, it's going to be 4 years later. This is how I think you can move faster than the speed of light and communicate faster than the speed of light without breaking causality. You're not technically going back in time. what happens is that you can move faster than the speed of light, but there's a time dilation effect, right? And when the time dilation effect hits, it means that you only experience time very quickly. So if I were, let's talk this out, because I'm trying to look if there's a hole in this. I want you guys to help me out with this. I've been thinking about this. I'm going to switch over to full screen real quick. Okay, so we send a communication right now to Alpha Centauri. It arrives instantly. Let's say I'm text messaging Alpha Centauri right now. It's 4 light years away. We'll just use 4 light years as an example, okay? They're getting the message right now, but for them, right now is 4 years in the future, right? From their perspective. Now we show up there. Now I teleport there, right? Instantaneously. I'm going to show up 4 years in the future when I show up there, right? And the message is still going to be there. I'm never going to get there before the message arrives because I texted them while I was still here, right? That's what I think that's how I think everything gets corrected, is that it takes 4 years for me to get there. And I'm going to show up always after my text message. So I text message them right now and then I teleport there. I'm never going to get there before the text message arrives. The text message is going to arrive 4 years in their future and then I'll arrive 4 years in their future. Now I can teleport back, but I'm going to experience a time dilation effect when I go back as well. The time dilation effect is what causes causality to not be broken, right? To me, time dilation might be the answer for why causality is never broken. And then the question is, well, can you communicate? Then my second question, and if anyone can come up with an answer for why that doesn't work, please let me know. The second question then is, well, let's say that, use the interstellar example, right? So interstellar, the people are on the planet and they're near the black hole. So their time is moving very slow and they're going slow-mo, right? The guy on the space station, his time is moving super fast. He's got very little mass near him. So his time, he's moving super speed, right? So if they can communicate with one another, right, and they send a message to one another, how does that message look for each individual person, right? If it's just some beeps, like some dots, and you're using like Morse code, then it feels like you should be able to get a communication back or forth, because the communication isn't dependent upon speaking words or anything like that, right? It's just an encoded message that is being decrypted in some way. I'm trying to think, is there any way to break causality with that? I can't really think of a way. You send them a message, like, let's say they see the wave coming. So the guy's in the space station, he's looking down at the planet, and he sees a giant wave coming from Matthew McConaughey, right? But it's going super slow. And they send a message down and say, dude, there's a wave coming. You got to check it out. And he sees Matthew McConaughey going in slow-mo. The problem is Matthew McConaughey can't even walk over to pick up the message in time because he's going in slow-mo the whole time. By the time Matthew McConaughey gets to where his phone is to look at the message, the wave's already arrived, right? So that I really think that that's how you can avoid breaking causality. Time dilation. I got to think of some other possible experiments for how that could be true. That's the problem, William. I think you're not thinking about it in terms of local frame of reference, right? You have to think about it in terms of local frame of reference. Days don't mean anything. That's the problem. Days don't mean anything. Days are only our measure of how fast our planet revolves around the sun. Or, how fast our planet spins one rotation, right? A year is how fast it goes around the sun. And so once you start to break it down like that, days don't mean anything anymore, right? What matters is distance. And when you start to think about distance, then distance equals time. In terms of light years equals how long it should take to get there. And then what happens is that no matter how fast you move, whenever you get there, it's going to be that far in the future, no matter how fast, even if you go the speed of light. When you go the speed of light, the only thing that's different is how much time you personally experience in your frame of reference while you're moving at the speed of light. Pretty interesting. If you can think of a thought experiment that argues against that, please let me know. Okay, let's go back to this video.
universe faster than the maximum speed limit that the universe has set. But what are the implications of having a speed limit on causality? Why is there a limit in the first place?
Maybe they'll give us one that breaks what I said.
How would causality be broken if information could travel faster than light? What would that mean for the universe? Well, one way to look at it is that only a force can cause anything. Quantum field theory shows that all particles are disturbances in a field. Forces are manifested by the exchange of virtual particles. So it's the disturbances of these fields that are at the root of forces and thus causation. Photons, the particles of light, are due to disturbances in the electromagnetic field. This is why it exerts a force.
Thank you, man.
Light pressure is one way that electromagnetic fields exert a force.
GP, is Dave Rossi... Oh, sorry, let me switch back over. Is Dave Rossi taking any pupils? He's a good example of somebody that understands modern physics without having traditional academic paths. No, but I think that if you subscribe to his Patreon, you can follow his content. You can ask him questions. You can watch the interviews. But absolutely, I mean, if anything, I'm a pupil of his, I guess. I ask him a lot of questions. He sends me stuff back. And then some of the stuff makes it onto our science list. And we look it up. As well as some of the other people, all the other scientists like Bob Grenier and Roy D. Herbert, etc. Because it's a matter of us understanding ourselves, right? Nah, the question of how fast the brightness of the laser moves does not break it, I don't think. You need to come up with a thought experiment, William. We need thought experiments. So let's see here. The laws of physics are the same in all inertial reference frames. Now, this might be wrong. If we can alter the space-time itself, this one might be wrong. Speed of light in a vacuum, probably the same. So let's see here.
Paradigm in the world of physics because it implied rejection of the Newtonian concepts of absolute time and absolute...
People want me to check Discord. Hold on. What am I looking for in Discord? Okay, this is what Dorian says. Suppose that one of two identical twin sisters flies off into space at nearly the speed of light. According to relativity... Okay, well, this is... Why is this... Can we make this smaller? What's the deal here? Okay, there we go. Time runs more slowly on her spacecraft than it does on Earth. Therefore, when she returns to Earth, she'll be younger than her bound sister. Yeah, that's true, though. That's time dilation. Yeah. This is time dilation. This is real. So I'm not sure what the point of this is, although it does prove time dilation is real for sure.
Absolute space. Time itself was shown to be relative to the observer. This was a shocking shift in perspective at the time. To illustrate this concept, let's look at the perspective of a stationary observer who turns on a flashlight at the same time that someone traveling on a train at a large fraction of the speed of light. He would witness the speed of light from his flashlight as being the same speed as the light from the flashlight on the fast-moving train. The only way this can happen is if time within the reference frame of the train is slower relative to the rest frame. Speed of propagation of electromagnetic waves is not important. What is important is the maximum speed that the universe allows for causality. This maximum speed just happens to also be the speed of light. But if this maximum speed was infinite, implying that the speed of light is infinite, well, this would have some absurd implications. For one thing, if the speed of light is infinite, then using the same equation, E equals mc squared, it would require an infinite amount of energy to accumulate any mass in the universe. So no massive particles could form. The other problem that is sometimes missed is that if the speed of light were infinite...
Real quick for William, here's the issue, William. I'm 99.9% sure that we can teleport, and that means we can move faster than the speed of light. And if we can move faster than the speed of light, then faster than light communication is no issue. And I've now heard like 3 independent people say that faster than light communication is possible. And now if we work back from that theory, it's a matter of us figuring out how it's possible. And right now, and I was thinking about this not just tonight, but even nights before this as well, is I couldn't figure out any thought experiment where we broke causality, assuming that faster than light communication was possible. And the reason is because time dilation. Because time dilation is like the corrector. Time dilation corrects any causality issues. I could be wrong though. But that's my current
we
theory.
would not have light at all. Why? Let's look
So I want to
how
find
the speed of
something
light is
somewhere that
derived from
proves me.
Maxwell's
I
equations.
don't want to look at the speed of light.
In
I
other
wanna-
words,
I want
it would mean that
experiments.
moving electric fields, if we kept
Ooh,
special
Captain
relativity,
Picard.
meaning the speed of light is finite, but we allowed faster than light communication. For example, like instant.
So, because even in this situation, right, where they're talking like this, I even think about Star Trek, right? You're not actually talking to the person there directly, right? The communication, even when I'm talking to you guys right now, you're not in front of me. What's happening is that the camera is taking electromagnetic signals and it's sending those electromagnetic signals to you, right? So there's even a time dilation effect between when I'm actually speaking right now and when you guys are observing me. It's very small because you're very close to me, relatively speaking. But there's still a time dilation effect happening there. Despite the fact from your perspective, it looks like you're hearing me instantaneously, right? So I'm just trying to figure out
in
how does this
subspace
break?
communication like they have in Star Trek. The problem with infinitely fast is the idea of a cause having an instantaneous effect. The problem is that in special relativity, it's not clear what instantaneous means. One of the results
Exactly.
of relativity is what's happening right now depends on how fast and in which direction you're moving. There's no absolute now. The now depends
This
on
is
the
problem.
reference frame.
Like what he's saying right now is there is no now, right? It's all based on your reference frame, and that's what time dilation corrects, right? There is no now. Like when you think about if you're communicating right now from here to Alpha Centauri or Proxima Centauri, now doesn't mean anything, right? Now is just a matter of where, like, that's the thing that's hard to wrap your brain around, right? Is that what does it mean that I arrive in Alpha Centauri 4 years later? Kind of like what William was just saying, because Alpha Centauri doesn't even, like, whatever planet you're on doesn't even revolve around their sun at the same time. Doesn't spin at the same rate. So the idea of now stops making any logical sense.
For example, imagine Alice on Earth and Bob in a rocket traveling about 87% the speed of light towards Proxima Centauri, our nearest neighboring star. Let's look at their world lines on a simple graph, where the horizontal axis represents the movement in one of the three spatial dimensions, and the vertical axis represents time. The world line for Alice will be straight up because she will not be moving in her frame of reference, but she will be moving forward in time. Her clock and her world line would tick normally for her, 1 second, 2 seconds, and so forth.
Yeah, I think this is the
The
same.
world line for Bob, from Alice's perspective, will be diagonal because it will be moving spatially and moving forward in time, or upwards as well. Let's say that Alice and Bob both synchronized their clocks before Bob left. Now, from Alice's perspective,
gonna show time
she will
dilation.
see that Bob's clock is moving more slowly than hers. Bob's speed at 0.87 c happens to be such that the time dilation is exactly 2, so his clock runs twice as slow as Alice's.
Honestly, this right here proves exactly what I was saying about moving at the speed of light, right? Like the time dilation effect is going to be proportionate to the distance traveled. The further you travel, the more time dilation is going to experience, right? And that's why I had speculated if the plane teleported, and it's teleporting the Maldives, that's very close. So there should be only a very small time dilation effect, but perhaps I'm misunderstanding. I'm trying to keep my mind open to what could be possible here.
2 seconds for Alice is only 1 second for Bob, so no problem so far. However, you have to remember that this is special relativity, which means that from Bob's perspective, he is not moving, and the Earth is moving away from him at 0.87 c. So from Bob's perspective, his clock is running normally, ticking 1 second, 2 seconds, etc. And it's Alice's clock that's running at 1/2 the speed of Bob's clock. This is special relativity, and it is the way things work in our universe. Now, why is it that we can't send...
The big problem is that time is just an illusion, right? And because time's an illusion and space-time are one and the same, and time becomes fluid, time just becomes an illusion. Like the whole idea of a day doesn't mean anything. The idea of a year doesn't mean anything, right? It's all just distance being traveled relative to speed.
...send messages faster than c, the speed of light? Well, as I said in a prior video, this is because...
Time technically stands still at the speed of light. Or if you're inside of a black hole where That's the whole point of a black hole memory hole, where a black hole is actually so powerful that the light can't even escape. So your time comes to a complete standstill. The more mass, the slower your time. The slower your time, the slower motion you're going relative to people who are observing you from the outside.
It would break causality and create all kinds of other paradoxes.
Sandy, I like that comment. That's funny. Hey, maybe Mike. How's it going? How's it going, dude?
And havoc. How? Let's look at it in this example with Alice and Bob. Suppose Alice sends a message to Bob using a hypothetical subspace signal, like was done many times in Star Trek, which allows instant communication. If Alice sends the signal when her clock reads 4 seconds, it would arrive to Bob when his clock reads 2 seconds.
Yep.
Instant communication. Alice's now is 4 seconds, and Bob's time at that moment is 2 seconds.
The problem is now doesn't mean anything, right? This is the issue. Like, there's nothing being broken here. There's no way to cheat causality with this information.
From the time they synchronize their clocks. Now, if we look at this from Bob's perspective, Bob receives the signal at 2 seconds when Alice's clock was at 4 seconds. But her clock is running slower than Bob's from Bob's perspective. This means that the signal...
This is actually the exact thought experiment I was just doing regarding the Matthew McConaughey scenario. I just want to know if they can come up with some way how this breaks causality.
from Alice would have to travel back in time.
It's not traveling back in time, though. That's the problem. Because each person's frame of reference is different, right? The only difference here is Bob is younger, right? But there's no way for this information to break causality. That's the problem, because Bob isn't next to Alice, right? Bob's somewhere else. There's no way for Bob to send a message back. And the issue here is the only way you would break causality, like here, I'm going to take a snapshot of this so you guys can see what I'm talking about, okay? I think I'm right here, chat. I hate to be like cocky about this because I'm just a random guy and not really a professional physicist. But I want to show you guys what I'm talking about, right? What in terms of what causality being broken would mean, okay? So in order to break causality, what would have to happen is this. Where's my line draw? How do you draw lines with this, chat? Oh, here we go, like this. Let's do is red going to be good? Let's do orange, right? Let's increase our thickness. That's what she said. This is, so if Bob were to send a message like this is not going to break causality, right? This does not break causality here if you do this kind of message, because this message is still being received after Alice sent the previous message, right? So let's say there's a 5 up here, right? So this message goes back to Alice, no matter where it goes back to right here. It's always going to show up after the original message was received. So there's no causality breaking right there. This is what causality breaking would look like. If Bob can send the message before the original message was received, that would break causality, right? But this is why time dilation corrects the problem, is it doesn't matter. These numbers next to the time don't mean anything because time dilation exists. We already know that the clocks get out of sync if two people are in different areas of space with different amounts of gravitational force or going at different speeds. We know that's a fact. What we don't know is whether or not you can do what I'm showing here. This would be the only causality break. It may break relativity, but it doesn't break causality. Right? And for William, even if you shoot it back, right? It doesn't matter because you're always shooting it back after you receive the original one, due to the quote-unquote speed of light. And even if you sent it back instantaneously, it's always going to appear after the first one did, no matter what. So no matter how close together these lines are, the second line is always going to be after the first line. Right? There's never a situation where number 3 is going to shoot back to number 2. That's not possible. Right? So causality is never broken here. Time dilation is the buffer for causality, right? Time dilation fixes the problem. This is fucking profound, chat. I don't want to go full Chris Leto right now, but we might have causality figured out here for faster than light communication. So let's say we put let's look at, I want to look at William's thought. He says, what if you put a mirror halfway, right? So right where this line is, let's imagine that this right here is a mirror. Let's imagine that this is halfway, okay? So now you have the message. Why did that change? Okay. So now the message comes here and it beams back, right? So it's always going to beam back like this. And this message is then going to keep going forward, right? So this message goes forward. Can I just do arrows? And this one then flips back around and beams back. Even in this scenario, the message is, there's no causality being broken here. This message here where this mirror is, it can never get there before the to break causality, right? There's no situation here where it breaks causality. This arrow, when it reflects back, never goes back before the 4. It's always going to go back afterwards, no matter what. So even with the mirror, I don't think it breaks causality either. Interesting thought, though, maybe. Anyway, I'm not seeing any situation where this is being broken. Let's see what they say.
From Bob's perspective. Now you might say, okay, what's the problem? Well, the problem is that now we have causality issues because now, after Bob receives a signal at 2 seconds,
this is the problem. This is
he could read the signal and reply at 4 seconds using the same hypothetical subspace frequency.
That's not how this works. Whatever he just said there doesn't make any sense. There's no situation where Bob can get a message back to Alice beforehand because this is not how time works. Whatever he's doing right here with this line is not a thing.
This means that she received the reply before she sent the message at 4 seconds. If this was permissible within the laws of physics, Alice could...
Because the problem here is these don't equate to one another in any way, shape, or form, right? The problem is no matter when you're sending this message back, it's always going back up here. So we already showed how this is not correct. This line right here is not correct. The line would be going back up here somewhere. The issue is that these numbers don't correlate to one another anymore because of time dilation. This is why people age differently, because they're thinking about it in terms of absolute time and not in terms of time dilation. That's the problem with this hypothetical right here, is that they're saying, oh, well, time's flowing the same for both of them, but it's not. It's not flowing the same for both of them. These numbers are just relative numbers. They don't mean anything absolutely.
Use Bob to send messages to herself in the past. For example, she could send a message to herself at 2 seconds to not send the message at 4 seconds. In that case, how did she receive a reply to a message that she never sent? Anything that allows information to travel to the past causes paradoxes.
There's no information being traveled to the past here, so I'm not sure where they got this idea of why this 4 goes to the 2. This is not explained at all here. I'm not sure why this person thought that you can draw a line like this. Time is moving forward for this person. They're communicating faster than the speed of light, but they're still always going back up here somewhere. Really what should happen is this in this scenario. So if we take a screenshot, I'm going to correct this in terms of my perspective of it, because I actually just think this is wrong. The real issue is this, is that time is moving twice as fast for this person as it is moving for this person. So what would really happen in this scenario is that the line is that this 4 is going to go up here. So let's say there's 2 more numbers up here, right? So let's say there's, I'll draw 2 more. So let's say this is the 5 and this is the 6. Okay. So this is 5. And this up here is 6. What's going to happen is this message is going to appear twice as fast as in terms of going down here. So the 4 goes to the 2 right here, but when the 4 goes back, since his time is moving faster, it's going to be received like somewhere between the 4 and the 5. It's not going to go up to 2 anymore. He's moving twice as fast. Actually, I think it would go directly to the 5 if I'm doing my math correctly here. And that's where this logic breaks down. Is what's really going to happen is it's going to be received like this. So there's no causality break here happening, because Bob's time is moving twice as fast as Alice's time. It's never a situation where the 4 is going back to the 2. That's not possible. He is correct. This is not possible, but the way he describes it's also not logical. right? There's no such thing as yesterday or tomorrow. That's the problem that this person's struggling with. I'm not sure why they thought the 4 would go back to the 2 here. Maybe I'm wrong. Not sure. Now, if we flipped it around, and let's say we start and the message goes 4 to the 2, and then they respond. I don't know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. I don't know. If we flip it around, Bob's going twice as fast. The 4 goes back to the 2. I don't know. It's really a hard thing to understand. I would need like an actual example of someone
like this and the grandfather paradox, among others.
More logically.
So such a thing is not permissible and does not happen according to physics as we understand it. Cause always has to precede the effect. Otherwise, we would have a chaotic universe that we probably would not recognize, and one that would be unlikely to contain life. The bottom line is that objects and observers in relative motion measure time differently. Movement in space affects how time is measured. There's no absolute time. There is no absolute now. Although everyone experiences the same, and this is the part that you're not gonna like, because as a Star Trek and Star Wars fan, I abhor what I'm about to say right now. Since objects contain information, they cannot travel faster than light. Based on the laws of physics as we understand them today, this means that warp, speed, hyperdrive, quantum drives, that is, a drive that allows objects to move faster than light, is impossible. My heart hopes
why is it
that
impossible?
a future Einstein, perhaps someone who may be watching this video right now,
Supposedly because it maybe it's
proves
talking about us.
that these equations to be incomplete and finds a loophole that allows us to keep.
I mean, the loophole is you move space-time itself, right?
Hope alive. Is that from Cochrane?
There's something we're missing here in terms of this. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Something doesn't mean something doesn't really add up for me. But that was pretty interesting, guys. It's very possible I'm misunderstanding a key aspect there. He's talking about Ashton. I don't think so, but maybe. Okay, what else are we gonna do here? Yeah, space equals time. That's the big thing. I don't know. It's breaking my brain, chat. Let's look at some other science. Let's change gears a little bit. So square root of the permittivity of space-time in the vacuum. So this is really a matter of how we bend space-time around an object and we get it to, from a local perspective, move faster than the speed of light. This is how we're going to get it to change. Its time is going to change. I'm still not seeing the causality break, but maybe it'll come to me. Doesn't E equals mc squared indicate adding enough energy you can move space around an object? Not sure. Maybe that's the Schwinger limit. Let's look at what the Schwinger limit is according to Grok. Can I reset Grok? I don't want the context of... Okay, well, maybe we do. Maybe we do want it in that context. Theoretical limit in quantum electrodynamics that represents the maximum electric field strength at which the vacuum can remain stable. It is named after the physicist Julian Schwinger, who first predicted the existence in the 1950s. Schwinger limit. EC equals m squared. I'm not sure what that equation, the underscores are supposed to mean. Is that supposed to be E times C? equals mass times the speed squared. I can't really tell what they're trying to calculate there for us. EC is the critical electric field strength. ME is the mass of an electron. C is the speed of light. E is the elementary charge. N is the reduced Planck's constant. The value of the Schwinger limit is approximately 1.32 times 10 to the 18, which is important because Salvatore Pais was talking about getting energy levels of 10 to the 32nd or 33rd, I think, which is higher than the Schwinger limit. This is an incredibly high electric field strength, far beyond what can currently be produced in a laboratory setting. But Salvatore Pais' papers, let's look at Salvatore Pais' papers. I think I have it up. Where does he talk about the Schwinger limit? It's probably high frequency gravitational waves, right? I think that was the one. Maybe it's a super force. Maybe not that one. So I'm looking for it, chat. Here it is. 10 to the 33 watts per meter squared. Can generate energy densities of 10 to the 25 joules per meter squared. Commensurate with the Schwinger electric field values of polarized vacuum. Damn. I don't know if the metrics are the same. I think what he's saying here, though, is that this physical condition is representative of the QED vacuum breakdown is indicative of possible inertia control by altering the local vacuum energy density. Huh. I think that's what he's saying there. Let me look at that again. What's HAUC again? Slow mode's already turned on, chat. It's just like every 5 seconds. Lost Dog, I don't know that there is a connection between the two passengers and the batteries. Most likely the passengers, if there is, it's an espionage operation. That would be the only connection possible between the batteries and the passengers. Okay, here we go. Anything important here? Okay, this looks spicy, chat. Let's see what we got. Superconducting materials have the potential to store energy at higher densities than conventional technologies. This is due to the absence of electrical resistance, which reduces energy loss during storage and transmission. room temperature superconductors could make energy storage efficient, more efficient and cost effective, leading to more sustainable infrastructure. The Schwinger limit is the theoretical limit in electrodynamics can maximum electric field strength, which in the vacuum can remain stable. To break this, you would need to generate electric fields with a strength greater than the Schwinger limit. Room temperature superconductors could play a role in achieving this by enabling the development of more powerful energy storage and transmissions. Okay, applications. They can. It would have to have high energy physics. The ability to generate electric fields beyond the Schwinger limit could lead to new insights. Sure. Doesn't really explain how. Fusion reactors could have implications for propulsion systems. Really? I wonder if it can elaborate on this. What implications does breaking the Schwinger limit have on propulsion systems? Okay. Oh, also, we're going to talk about that in a second as well. Hello. Breaking the Schwinger limit could enable the development of advanced plasma propulsion systems, which use electric and magnetic fields to accelerate plasma to high speeds. These systems could provide high-level thrust with high specific impulse. Sounds like impulse engines. In addition, breaking the Schwinger limit could lead to the development of advanced laser propulsion systems. These systems use laser to heat a propellant, such as hydrogen, to high temperatures, creating a high-pressure plasma that is expelled from the spacecraft to provide thrust. The electric field strengths go beyond the Schwinger limit, can be generated and controlled. It could enable the development of more powerful laser propulsion systems that could provide even higher levels of thrust and specific propulsion. Okay. I'm slowly starting to understand Ken Wheeler, but it's taking a while. He's on to something for sure. So here was another article. We're going to switch gears for a second, everybody. Some random pilot says the pilot could have been sabotaged from the inside in a plot to crash the plane. Well, they would have just crashed the plane if that's the case. How is this stuff making the news? Who is this person? Like, who is this person talking to that the news is reporting on this? They're not on Twitter, I guarantee you that. What social media are they on where this is getting out? Like, how does the media even work these days is what I'm really wondering, right? One popular theory is murder-suicide. That's just really stupid. Captain Mike Glenn has shed some light on what he thinks may have gone down, appearing on Sky News. They put this guy on Sky News. And what's it? He has no evidence whatsoever. He just has a theory. And they put this guy on Sky News. Okay. Someone inside the cockpit could have locked its door and forced the plane into control by depressurizing the cabin. Also, they could have depressurized the cabin because there was a fire. You also would do this exact same thing if there's a fire. Just for everyone who's watching, you can control the outflow of gas, valves to depressurize the plane to make sure that there's enough oxygen to be able to breathe if you descend. If the aircraft's not going to descend, but we have literal witnesses that saw the aircraft at low altitudes after descending. These are all just statements of opinion with no evidentiary support. This is like the Julian Dorey school of logic. I'm just going to make some stuff up and pretend like it's real. With no witnesses to corroborate it, no physical evidence, no plane found anywhere, no logical explanation for why you wouldn't just crash the plane in a suicide scenario. The flight path doesn't indicate it either. They went to Penang. You're not going to the nearest airport where you land in an emergency scenario, in a suicide scenario. Like, literally, there's just no evidence whatsoever for this. Is that it? That's it. Literally, this guy's on TV because he just literally said that in his opinion, someone could lock the door. That's it. That's literally it. You could ask Julian Dorey this, and he would have told you the same thing. That's the level of credentials and expertise that we call newsworthy these days. Just straight up embarrassment, man. The media is an embarrassment. This kind of stuff is just... It's embarrassing that this even passes for news, that people even report this. It just goes to show that traditional media is just dead, right? It's just dead these days. I don't even think the people that report on this even like have two brain cells. It really makes me wonder. I think that everybody just defers to whoever they think is an expert without even looking at logic or reason or evidence or anything, right? I mean, what the hell? At least... this guy, Marshland, who's Bellamy's buddy or whatever, at least they agree that until the wreck is found, nobody knows, right? And here's my bet, chat. This is like, an analogy is like when you're playing craps and everybody's betting on pass, and pass is they're going to find the plane. Excuse me, they're going to find the plane. And I'm betting on don't pass. They're never going to find the plane, right? And until they find that plane, it's 10 years later, don't pass is going to win, right? And every day that goes by, don't pass is getting better and better, right? I'm betting against everybody. Everybody that says that we're going to find this plane somewhere, we're betting on don't pass. I'm not sure. Why do all these people think the cabin was depressurized as well? What evidentiary support is for that? Other than the fire scenario. The fire scenario is the only scenario. And we actually have visual witnesses that saw the plane flying low. Catherine T saw it flying low. 8 people on a fishing boat saw it flying low. The people on Diego Garcia or on the Maldives Island saw it flying low. Nobody saw this plane flying at cruising altitude. I just don't get it. These guys think that the plane crashed in some unsearched area of the South Indian Ocean. Okay, show it to me on the map. Show me on the map where they think that the plane crashed, because I've looked at the search area and they've searched literally everywhere. There's above and below water. There's nowhere else for the plane to go. They spent 3 years searching and didn't find one piece of the plane. Show me the location where the debris field should have been and explain to me how we didn't find one piece of the plane. That's all I want any of these people who pretend to be experts to do. There's none of these people who are going to last 5 minutes in a debate with me. They're not even going to last 5 minutes. Also, they got the numbers wrong here. It's supposed to be 2014 and 2018. They think the new search area is beyond the fuel exhaustion. I guarantee you they're not going to find it here either, guys. This is beyond fuel exhaustion. The plane's already run out of fuel along the 7th arc. And they're like, oh, well, it made it down here somewhere. Like, if it made it down here, why did we find a debris field over here? The debris would have been drifting. We would have found a huge debris field. Do they really think that, like, a slightly different angle, like, it's just, oh, there it was the whole time? Come on, man. Even if they ditch the plane afterwards, after it landed at Diego Garcia, there's going to be the black boxes, and the black boxes are going to tell the true story of the plane. That's why they're never going to find it. Anyway. Okay, I think we're going to have to save this one for tomorrow. I'm not sure how long we got. The funny part is several experts, it's not even just McWest, even the experts have dodged me. Independent group has dodged me. I was on with Elizabeth Lane, who's a pilot, and I don't know if she ever even published our interview. Like, I think she might have got pressure to not even publish the interview. I might have to ping her and ask. But she was trying to get another expert on to argue with me, and the other expert wouldn't even come on. That's how fragile their opinions are, is that they can't even face me. Imagine calling yourself an expert, and some novice like me, who's not even an expert, not a pilot or anything, isn't even afraid to debate you, and you pussy out. That you're too afraid, that your ideas can't even stand up to scrutiny from just a random dude off the street. A random dude off the street makes you run away from a debate. Like, that means your ideas are not going to stand up to any level of scrutiny, right? Like, it's very, very telling. And especially when they get angry about it, right? Where it's like, that shows their insecurity in terms of their own beliefs, right? This is wild, man. I can't remember what the guy's name is. She told me what the guy's name was, and I didn't recognize it. It'd be funny if he was one of those guys. I don't think he is. Lorenz factor. Oh yeah, Lorenz. We got a lot more to learn about science, chat, like a lot. It's part of the reason why I want to pause the MH370 stuff. I need more free time to search the science. It's kind of like a boxing match, right? Like, can you imagine like a heavyweight boxer and some random dude from like the audience comes up and he's like, I'm going to box you. And then the heavyweight boxer's like, nah, I'm good. Nah, I don't want, I can't, I'm not going to box against that guy. It's like, what are you afraid of? I thought you should beat the crap out of him, right? Should be no contest. It's not me running away from anybody. Okay. Speaking of which, there's supposed to be some kind of space on Wednesday where those guys who are just total psychos are supposed to bring their experts. I don't know if that's I seriously doubt that's going to ever happen, but if so, I'll bring Dave Rossi, and I'll see if Roy D. Herbert will come. That way I'll have an engineer and a physicist on my side. And I guarantee you, whoever their expert is not going to beat them. No chance. Those dudes know their science very, very well. Okay, Lorenz factor. Guys, by the way, I kind of love AI. I kind of love Grok, everybody. It's kind of weak. Like, you can tell, this is the thing about AI. You guys have probably already noticed this, right? It's just like copy and pasting information based on keywords, right? That's what it's doing. It's not like adaptive, you know? And that's the weakness of AI. And this is why the letter to us was so compelling. Because that letter to us was not, that was not something that AI just copy and pasted, right? That was something where somebody was like creatively coming up with it. It would have taken more work to build it with AI than it would be just to write it from scratch. The Lorenz factor, often denoted by the Greek letter. What Greek letter is that, chat? What is this? That's not omega. What is that? Guys, I was in a frat, and I don't even know what this letter is. Psi? Is this psi? Is that what this is supposed to be? What is this letter? It's a quantity used in special relativity to describe the effects of time dilation and length contraction. Sandy, were you in a sorority? What am I looking at here? Someone help me out. We need a frat or a sorority person to help us out. Somebody who did Greek. Who's in the Greek system? Okay, it's a quantity used in special relativity to describe the effects of time dilation and length contraction. So whatever that letter is equals 1 over the square root of 1 minus the velocity squared divided by the speed of light squared. So this should be in terms of the time dilation factor, right? I think that they were looking at before. Where v is the relative velocity, c is the speed of light. The Lorenz factor becomes relevant significant when v is close to the speed of light. Yeah, the closer is the speed of light, then this is going to become 1. And then this becomes infinite. 1 over 0 is infinite. Gamma, this is gamma. Thank you, chat, Finally, Gamma. That's what Gamma looks like, huh? Oh, no. What deleted X post did he do 12 hours ago? Chat, what? Creepy Dan made a post and he deleted it 12 hours ago? Ooh, spicy. Yeah, Chat GPT is probably better than Grok, honestly. Grok will get better, though. No, Z Jalapeno, you need to post that, or where if you have it, post it in the Discord so I can read it. You didn't post it in the Discord, did you? Damn, this one thing looks like a video game. Wait, is this real? Is this real, chat? Is this real? This looks like a video game. Uh-oh. This doesn't even look real, does this? Doesn't this look like a video game? This looks like a video game. Is there gonna be death in this? Uh-oh. Damn, this is crazy. Look at the resolution capabilities we have. I'm assuming this is from an airplane. Yeah, this is from an airplane. Whoa. Whoa. You see that? Look how fast that happens. Wow. Is that a missile or something we shot it with? Whoa. That was wild. I could use a screenshot, though, guys. The Lorentz factor is an important concept in understanding the consequences of Einstein's theory of special relativity, which states that the laws of physics are the same for all non-accelerating observers that are the speed of light and constant for all observers. Yeah, I mean, everything just looks... I can't tell. Stuff doesn't even look real anymore. Okay, Lorentz factor. Where's stream stuff? Oh, that was my Spreaker stuff. Hopefully that didn't reveal anything personal. I don't think it did. Suppress technologies. Oh, here we go, guys. You ready for this? Wow, listen to this, chat. Speaking of Creepy Dan, wait for this.
Controversy. The scientific community largely dismissed Reich's theories, criticizing the lack of empirical evidence and the significant results in the treatment of various ailments and conditions using orgone energy.
That's the voice, chat. That's the voice. Whoever made this is using the same voice that the letter to me used. Do you think it could be these people? Do you think this could be these people?
All patients who used the orgone generator stated that Reich's claims are truth. In fact, there were many that were cured by his device.
That's the Dan AI right there. Real world creepy. That's the voice. Someone found it. I'm going to subscribe to it. They have 1.85 million followers. It's not just the same cadence, it's the same voice. Exactly.
So be aware that there is a deeper layer that you could focus on instead of the Miami aliens that I see you have been posting about.
Exact same voice.
I will give you some pointers for this at the end of this letter. The products or application you are now working on is correctly based on superconductivity.
Exact same voice. Interesting connection. Okay. Guys, I think that's probably it for me tonight. I'm pretty wiped out. It's a live chat, so only YouTube controls what gets deleted. I haven't wiped anybody out. Yeah, people sent me those videos a while ago, guys. I've been having the same videos up on my background for a while, and also people have been emailing me. I'm like at least 300 emails behind, guys. I don't have enough time in the day for everything. I'm trying. So some random podcaster was upset, I guess, because they thought I ghosted them, and I just literally haven't checked my emails, or haven't been able to check on all of them. So best way to get in touch with me is to ping me on Twitter. So it's very easy. All you have to do is direct message me or reply to one of my posts, and I find everybody. Yeah, we've already known that was an AI voice chat. We've already known. But yeah, I've been streaming for like 4 hours plus today, so I think we're going to go to sleep. I've got a lot of more editing to do tomorrow, and I'm going to upload all those things on Spreaker and get them on. I don't know if it posts on Spotify. I probably post it everywhere. So that way you guys can listen to audio versions for my followers who don't use YouTube or whatever. Apparently a lot of people do the audio stuff. So thank you, everybody who was in the chat, everybody who followed along today. We learned a little bit about time dilation, and we thought about the idea of communicating faster than the speed of light, which is pretty interesting. Still not sure whether or not it's going to really break causality or not. I can't really figure it out. So if anybody can think of any thought experiments where we can prove or disprove breaking causality, that would be useful. Yeah, I'll shoot a Discord link in here as well. Oh, somebody posted a link. We'll look at that too real quick before we go here. Okay, we'll do 5 uses. So this will only go for 5 uses. There you go. First 5 people can get a Discord invite. Whoa, what's that? So 100. Okay, well, here we go. We might not be done, chat. Where did it just go? Where did it just go? Oh, here it is. Okay. Well, if this is a message to me, now everybody knows. 128-bit MD5 cryptographic hash. What the hell does that mean? Reverse it. Reversing a hash. Secure cryptographic hash, but those days are long gone. So there's no way to reverse it. Okay, we'll deal with this tomorrow. I have no idea what this means or how this works. I don't have the energy for this right now. But if anyone can figure that out, let me know. Talk about it in our Discord. If you have any input on that, let me know. We'll look into that tomorrow. I'll look at that while I'm editing stuff tomorrow. So thanks, everybody. Have a good night, and we will talk tomorrow.